Alright, this evening we're out here in my garden, and in this video you're probably going to see me change clothes a few times, and that's because I'm going to be planting my summer garden over the next few evenings. And this evening I'm going to be doing my row garden, and I'm actually going to be starting off with some flowers. So this first row right here is going to kind of be a sacrificial row. I'm going to be planting nasturtiums, which they are an edible flower, so if I do have some that survive, they might end up in a salad, but I'm mainly planting them as a barrier for the rabbits. I have a bunch of little rabbits scurrying around here, so I'm hoping that these will be more tempting to the rabbits than the corn and the beans that will be coming up. And I am planning on maybe putting in an electric fence around the garden in the meantime. But you know, this might also help. So I'm going to put these in, and then I tend to plant, instead of doing like one long row of beans and one long row of corn, you want to plant them in blocks. That helps with pollination. So you want kind of a block of beans and a block of corn. And actually, just off camera right over there goes a rabbit right down the trail of my meadow garden. So yeah, he's mocking me right off camera. So yeah, okay. So let me go ahead and get the camera turned around here, and I'll get started planting these. And I have two different types that I'm going to be planting. This Jewel Blend and Butterscotch. So what I'm going to do is open up the packs and mix them together, and that way I get more of a nice blend. Our next thing to go in is our bush beans, and this year I'm switching it up. I'm going to go with top crop. I normally go with Blue Lake, but we were out when I was shopping for bean seed, so I'm going to give top crop a try. You want to plant these about 3 to 4 inches apart, and you want to space your rows about 3 feet apart. I'm going a little bit wider for the sake of getting my rototiller through for cultivating, and I'm going with 4 rows, and you can see the division that I made down the middle there. So this front block is going to be my beans, and then the back block back there is going to be my corn. And again, that's for the sake of pollination. So you want to plant in blocks so you get better pollination. Up next and last tonight, I'm going to be planting corn. And this year, I've always gone with Silver Queen, but a problem I've run into the last few years right here along the river is raccoons. And it's a problem I've never had before. And I've always grown Silver Queen, and right here the raccoons can get up and reach the ears. So this year, I wanted something that grows taller than Silver Queen, and that led me to Incredible. It gets 7 to 8 feet tall, so I'm hoping that the ears will be up tall enough that the raccoons can't reach it. So I'm banking on that, and fingers crossed. I can get to it before the raccoons can. So that's my hope with this. So we're going to plant this with a prayer that we get some tasty ears of corn this year. Alright, it's a couple days later, and amazingly, I have the same shirt on. It's been a couple days because I've been fighting my allergies, and you might notice my voice might sound a little bit hoarser now. Yeah, this time of year, I do suffer from seasonal allergies. And you might find that interesting because I do enjoy gardening. But this time of year, I just kind of have to push through. May into kind of June, into early July is kind of the rough time for me. I'm mainly allergic to grass pollen, so until the hay fields get cut and baled, it's a really rough season for me. And it just happens to coincide with the peak of garden planting season. So I just have to kind of work strategically. I kind of push myself until I until I kind of crash, and that's what happened the other evening when I was planting the garden. So I woke up the next day not feeling my best and kind of pushed through the last couple days. My wife did a load of laundry, so hey, turns out I do have the same shirt on. But yeah, this evening I want to plant these back two beds here in my raised bed section. And my plan for this bed that I'm setting on is a couple straight neck squash hills. So I'm going to kind of make some hills here. I have some potting mix, so I'm going to try to do kind of a mixture of soil that's in this bed and then also a mix of potting mix. But I also, right here directly behind me, have a little bunch of Johnson grass that's coming up. So my plan is to try to smother it out. So I've got some cardboard that I've brought out, and I'm going to cut a piece of cardboard out and put it over top of it. And then I have mulch for this entire bed. So I'm going to basically plant my two hills. That's going to be the only two exposed areas of soil. The rest is going to be mulched down, including this patch where this Johnson grass is. So hopefully by doing that, it'll smother it out. And I've gone in and treated this area with an herbicide that hopefully won't hurt the seedlings. And I've also gone in with my weed torch and kind of scorched this area to kind of burn back any growth. And I've done it to both beds. This other bed over here, I'm going to be planting okra in it, and then also zinnias. Both of those are kind of fast growing, especially in the warmer weather heading into June and July. So I'm kind of hoping that they'll kind of come up and get established and overtake the Johnson grass and kind of smother it out. So that's my game plan for that bed. And maybe I can get by without even putting mulch on it. And then I have this bed right here directly in front of me, which we'll take a look at later. Right now it just has leaf lettuce in one end of it, I brought a bowl out. I'm going to harvest the last bit of it this evening because it's getting ready to bolt. It's starting to get kind of tall and lanky. I want to get it out of here before it bolts. And then into that bed is going to be tomatoes down the center, and then peppers down both sides. And then probably in next week's video, I'm going to be building my tomato trellis. So I kind of built version 1.0 a couple of years ago. I've got some ideas to improve it because it kind of damaged the bed over there, and I had to make some repairs to it. I've got an idea for kind of making a better version that's sort of a riff on the same idea. So I've already got the lumber set aside to do that. I just need to slap it together and build it. So let's go ahead and get to it. I've got all my tools and everything. I hauled it all out here on the trailer behind the riding lawnmower. And well, let me set up the camera at a good angle and I'll go ahead and get started. Right here is that little patch of Johnson grass. First off, I'm just going to chop it down. There's even a little bit right over there. After I chop it like that, I want to make sure that I get all of these little pieces out. Because even they can take root and create more Johnson grass. That is the bad thing about Johnson grass. Alright, so right here is my cardboard patch. Is it perfect? No. Am I probably missing some? Probably. But now I can come in and spot treat with weed killer around it. And what I'm going to try to do is maybe hit like right here with a plant, and then right here with a plant. And then it can kind of spread over that and help to kind of smother it. Oh man, prepping this bed turned into a whole quagmire that I ended up just not recording. I originally started off with my battery operated hand tiller, and the Johnson grass roots in here are so thick that this fall I think I'm going to have to completely empty this bed and basically scrape it down to ground level and treat it with an herbicide or something. I'm going to have to take some drastic measures. I'm going to have to take this bed completely out and do something. basically the tines on the tiller were getting tangled up in the roots. I ended up going in with a hoe and digging them out by hand as best I could and making rows. And now I'm going to go in and sow the okra seeds. And it does take okra a little bit of time to germinate, but once they do, they're really hardy plants. So I think they'll definitely overpower the Johnson grass. Now, this seed pack, it doesn't have a lot of seeds in it, but okra becomes huge plants. So that's what I'm counting on here. And I'm going to go ahead and space them out as if I were spacing them in the garden. So as if I were already thinning them out. So it says to space them and plant them in groups of 3 about 18 inches apart. I'm going to go a little bit closer than that, and I'm maybe going to do like 2 seeds, like maybe a foot apart. I think that'll work out a little bit better, and then I won't necessarily need to thin them. And then down in the other end of this bed, I'm going to do zinnias. That'll just be something pretty and eye-catching in that end of the bed. And you can tell the sun is set. I spent so much time working on this bed. I'm going to have to go get a lantern because I'm definitely going to be out here after dark working on the tomatoes and peppers. So I might have to catch you guys in the morning and do a little ending to this video. Alright, so last night I finished planting my peppers and tomatoes. I ended up bringing out a battery operated lantern, so I had enough light to work. I was actually out here till almost 11 o'clock planting. But yeah, the next thing that I have to build is my trellis to support my tomato plants. And basically I built it out of 2x4s. And the mistake that I made the first time that I did it is I basically just had a 2x4 at each end with no cross member along the top. So what I'm going to do this year is basically have a beam that runs along the top to support it. And then I basically run strings lengthwise that I can tie to. And I find that it works really well. And for a small 4x8 foot bed like this, it works really well. Better than like staking them or trying to do like a floor to weave method or anything like that. And plus, by just screwing it together with like deck screws, it's easy to take apart at the end of the season and tuck the pieces back away in the garage and store them, and I can move it around from bed to bed. And well, that is for the most part everything planted as far as my summer crops. So I've got this bed, and that bed done. My cabbage is starting to head right now. I did have some pest problems that I've treated. My peas are still working along. Kale is still kaling. Swiss chard I'm still harvesting. I do have an empty spot there that I'm going to fill in. So I need to go in, clear out some weeds. I'm going to take care of that probably this evening. My onions need to go through and be weeded, which I've got the compost pile right there next to them. And then the row section looks pretty nice. I just need to make some row markers and mark where the rows are. I can still see where the rows are. We haven't gotten a rain yet, so I can still kind of see where they're at for right now. But that's a quick, kind of easy job. I've got some scrap lumber, and I can easily chop up some little steaks. And my next big task is doing a fence. And my plan this year was to put in a more permanent fence, but I think I'm just going to go a quick electric fence route. I've kind of run out of time this year to get that done, so that's going to have to wait until probably later in this summer or early next spring. So, well, that is the garden so far this year.